Why should parents, Liz, not be afraid to talk to their children about sex and drugs? Because this is still the same age group that you, at this peer group, this is when you need to get them. Because even physically, this is when they're going through that physical sexual development. So why should our parents here at home, and we know here in Kenya, even on the African continent, having these conversations in our homes are not the most comfortable ones? So how would you encourage parents to have this conversation when it comes to sex and drugs with their 8 to 13-year-old children?
Well, the conversation about sex is closely tied to the physical development of your body. So we know that in school, and we know that we were taught also as we were in school about what happens during the change in adolescence. But I've realized from talking to some of my child patients that it is very, very, very basic. So what you as the parent needs to continue the conversation. You need to be able to talk to them that, okay, what have you learned in school? And maybe take it up from there. So they'll tell you, we've learned that the body does this, the body does that, the female body does this, and the male body does. And so then you will talk to them about the feelings that then happen around the development of the body. So what happens, what feelings do you get around yourself when somebody touches you, or even when you touch yourself? What do you feel? And what does that feeling mean? And what does that feeling lead to? And then from there, you talk to them about their sexuality, about their sexual self.
Right.
Yeah. And if you find as a parent that you are uncomfortable having this conversation, because as Africans, we've always been fairly uncomfortable with these conversations, you can send this child to an auntie. It is often easier to talk to somebody else's child than to talk to your own, because kids also cringe a lot when you're talking to them. They don't kind of want to have these conversations directly.
Right.
So you take them to an auntie. Take them to a close friend who you know will also instill good values. And as they talk to them, they also need to tell them, so what do I do with all these feelings?
But here's the thing, Liz, the fact that parents make it feel like it's a one-time thing, that now I have to sit down and talk to you about sex and drugs. Should it not be something so natural in the car, in the house, when you're washing dishes with them? It should easily and naturally come to them. It shouldn't be a one-time thing. Okay, we've talked about sex and that's it. We've talked about drugs and that's it. Should it not be a continuous thing? That way also children sort of pull down those walls.
Yes, it is. It is important. Maybe, as you have said, those opportunities are very good when you are not actually sitting face to face and talking to each other. Because right now there's a lot of teaching moments or teaching opportunities that are created during watching TV. When you watch a movie or something with the family and people kiss. There is that teaching opportunity that then arises, that kissing is like this. Kissing happens between two people who are adults, who are ready for whatever will come next. Kissing brings about its own feelings, its own physical, emotional feelings, or is caused by some emotional feelings. And yes, it should be a topic that you talk about through and through. But you've noticed I've talked mostly about the sexual bit. The drugs bit is very, very important, that we start instilling in our children this awareness of drugs and drug use and what the effects, the consequences of drug use, because we found that this is fairly common right now with lots of teens immediately starting to use weed, for example, when as they grow up. We need to be able to tell them right from before 8 and 9 that people use drugs. Drugs are dangerous to your body. We need, by around 9 and preteen, we need to be even able to show them a diagram of what happens in your brain, the chemical changes that happen, the fact that you cannot make proper decisions, and this may lead to bad choices like early sex, early sexual encounters, So we need to start these conversations even earlier, so that they don't become awkward and so that they don't become cringe-worthy moments for our teens and our adolescents.